Hello, Jamie from Inky&Scrappy, back with a sweet elephant globe shaker card using a Lawn Fawn's Elfie, Selfie, and Holiday Helpers, and the Build a Snow Globe die for this little mashup. So I am in love with that little Build a Snow Globe and making it not Christmassy, and so, I did this one for a one-year-old's birthday card, and I really had a lot of fun, seeing what fit inside of it and that would kind of work well for this one. So I stamped the big Elfie on there, and then of course the little baby one, and then I pulled out a couple of toys from that holiday helper set, and then I stamped that balloon several times on here so I could put one balloon on the inside of the shaker and then one balloon or a couple of balloons on the other side. I'm going to use my Ohuhu markers today to color. I kind of picked most of my Honolulu B series, but I think I do pull in a couple of the Ohuhu series. It just, depended upon where they were at on my desk and what was readily available. So I started with the green grays. The green grays are probably my favorite for the elephant coloring. It's just, my preferred. Kind of has, I don't want to say it's really got a green. It kind of has a green tint to it, but not a whole lot. So I started with my darkest color and then came in with my mid-tone here, and then I will come in with my lightest tone again and kind of go over all of that area. So to get your colors to blend, I start with my darkest. Some people start with their lightest, which would give you a full layer of color, and then come in with your mid-tone and your dark, and then you can go back to your light to get a good blend. I usually start with my dark, work to my medium, but the goal is you start with your dark, and then when you come in with your mid-tone, you go over that dark area at least a little bit. You don't have to go over the whole area, but you want to go over a portion of it so it blends those two colors together along that seam. And the same with the lighter tone. Usually with the lighter tone, I go over the whole area that was colored, and it just kind of brings it all together. You can also go back and add those low lights in again if they didn't, how shall I say, if that lighter one blended out too much, because basically the lighter one is kind of like your colorless blender, or your, kind of pushes that darker color into the paper more. So if you want it darker again, just come back in with your darkest one, and that's kind of what I did with the elephants there. I came back in after I was all done with the darkest tone and just kind of hit that darker area one more time, and then it blends very well because the paper's already wet, and so it works well. So for these, I kept with, I want to say, one color blend for most of them. So I just used one marker color, and you go down with your first layer of color, kind of where you want your highlight or your low light, and then I let it dry, and then I go over it again with a second layer. That will kind of help make the illusion that you did a two marker blend, but you're really only using one marker. It's the easiest way to get your colors to look like you're blending them without a whole lot of thought process to it, I guess. It just makes it easier. So if you are new to alcohol markers, it's probably the easiest way to learn them is to just start with one marker color and figure out how to do your layers. So layering on alcohol markers will give you the darkest, like figure 3 layers. So if you go over an area 3 times with that marker, it's going to give you a darker hue than if you go over it with 2 times, or if you go over it just once. So I hope that helps. And don't be afraid to go back over an area a second time or a third time to get a better blend. Like, I could have probably gotten a better blend on my bigger elephant's face if I'd have gone over that one with all 3 colors one more time. It'll kind of even out all of it a little bit better. I hope that makes sense. So I'm a little off camera here. I apologize. So I just kind of used all of those. I did soft, sweet little colors. So if you're looking for the colors, there they are. And then I will cut those all out. I think I ended up using the Brother Scan and Cut for that. I don't think I have all the dies. So for this one, I brought in it's the Really Rainbows. Is it the new Really Rainbows pack, maybe? I'll list it down below if you're interested. It's Lawn Fawn's. I think it's really rainbow. I don't know. It's their pastel rainbow pack. So 6x6 papers. I kind of use this as a cheat so I didn't have to do a blended background on it. And then I already have my pieces cut out for my shaker. So for this one, I did not put double-sided adhesive on it. So I'm just going to come in with glue, kind of go along that line there. I didn't cut out the full globe part in my acetate because I really didn't need it. I just needed that top part. So the key to that one is to make sure that you're not wiggling it around. Set it down and, try to line it up as best you can so you don't get any glue on the actual part that's showing. I did do a little bit of a cheat here, and I just kind of used that inside pop-out part and die cut that for my hillside on this one, just because I was conserving that really pretty paper that I have yet to be able to find where to restock since the store I got it from is now closed. It happens. Yeah. So I'm adding my layers here, just kind of building up because I want to put that shaker directly on to the front of the card. I think. Do I build the shaker and then put it on? I don't know. We'll see. I did this one a few weeks ago, so, when I'm behind in edits, I don't remember. So your guess is as good as mine at this one. I did decide to add in grass. I just thought it needed a grounding base layer. So I pulled in that green stripe one. It's like green on green, tone on tone. And so I felt it was fairly close to, grass looking, right? Because you're going like, yeah. So I did bring in the grassy border die there. I think it's the Slimline one. It works fine for, bigger cards or smaller cards because obviously it's going to cut that whole piece out. So I'll add that one on to my card base here, and then I will build. So I was trying to line this up because it's going to definitely just be in here. Okay, so I did cut out a second acetate piece for my shaker well. This way I can kind of move it around on my card front before I commit. Okay, so I didn't really need the other. I wanted it to be see-through. I wanted to be able to see the background that was going to be on the rest of the card for this one. So I'm just coming in with those really thin, I think they're 1/8 inch wide foam strips. This one I think is maybe a 2mm thickness level on this one. And so I'm kind of doing the same thing with this one here. Just kind of making sure I have a tight circle all the way around. And then I'll add some foam tape onto the bottom there just to kind of give me a little bit of more stability so it doesn't wreck in the mail or in the envelope. I guess this one's not getting mailed, but so it doesn't wreck in the envelope. And for my grass here, I decided it needed a touch of a green, so I did bring in a green alcohol marker and went over it. This way it kind of has a greener tint to it and it doesn't look so pink and purple and white. So I did decide to use some little heart shakers. I thought these ones went really well color-wise, so I think they're like a 4-tone heart. I think there's yellow, green, pink, and purple in it, and then I added a few seed beads just to kind of help make that shake sound and move things around. I did a little bit of glitter. I probably could have added a little bit more glitter or seed beads to this one. It really didn't have a whole lot overall in that shaker mix, which, sometimes I overdo it, so I was trying to underdo it on this one and maybe a little bit too under. I don't know. So I'm adding the balloon onto the little elephant's snout there, or trunk, I guess. So she's holding the little balloon in her trunk, and then I'm going to glue that onto that back piece of acetate, and then I will add glue all the way around on my piece of foam adhesive here. So I peel the back off of my foam adhesive before I run it around the circle. It just makes it a lot easier to bend and fold, and you don't get, I don't know, it just works well. So for the glue on this one, I just kind of strategically placed it to where it was going to be covered up by the images that are on there. So yeah, you see that I wasn't totally spot on my hillside, but I think it hides well enough in the background and with the shaker bits in there that it's not a huge deal. So I probably should have figured out my card layout before I decided to adhere it. So yeah, I was like, oh, I kind of wanted it over and it was like already glued down. So I should have probably moved that maybe off to the right side a little bit more. I just had to readjust my plan for layout on this one. I was gonna have the little elephant hold all three of the balloons and yeah, that's what happens when I don't plan ahead. So I kind of play with my layout here. I didn't end up like placing anything. I was just trying to, it's like paper dolls. You have to dress them up and figure out which outfit they're going to wear. That's kind of what I was doing, just working on placement of the rest of my images. And then, of course, I had also cut those little strips of paper, so I'm going to add those on there for some little detail. And I cut those with the other, like the top part of, I think I did the top part, or I did a light pink. Anyways, I ended up deciding to use Tim Holtz's, I think they're like little teeny tiny letters. So I put her name on the little globe shaker, and then I adhered everything down. I might have been on a crafty chat and forgot to push record. Yeah. So you get to see the finishing touches. So for this one, I added some glossy accents to the balloons that are on the outside of the shaker. I don't think if I would have thought about it, I would have added it to the inside because it would have made everything stick to it on the inside of the shaker, or it wouldn't have, ended up, I don't know, adhering. Your shaker bits wouldn't have moved around. They'd have probably stuck to the balloon even if it was dry. So, whereas I would have maybe liked to add the glossy accents, but, it's behind the glass of the snow globe, so it's okay. So, and then, of course, I added some glitter with the glitter duster because you can never have enough glitter in life, right? And I thought I was done. But then I was like, it looks like it needed something in the sky yet. I thought about putting a happy birthday up there, but I really didn't think I had enough real estate, and I didn't like the look of how that was going to lay out. So I ended up bringing in those, they're from Lawn Fawn. It's like the outline clouds. I thought they were subtle. They just add a little bit of visual interest and kind of fill that sky just a teeny tiny little bit. And of course, me being me, I'm going to cut that one cloud down and then use the other part of that cloud on the other side to kind of make it look like that scene extends beyond the little panel here. Bringing in my reverse tweezers to help me out because these are fairly thin and little, and yeah, I got big chunky fingers, so I will tap those down there and then add in my other one on the other side. The little one always reminds me of popcorn. That's what it looks like to me, is popcorn. Yeah, it is what it is. So maybe it's candy coated popcorn because it's definitely not buttered popcorn because that is pink and purple and glossy and cute. So then I'm just adding the other extra little piece of cloud onto the side there, and that finishes up my card for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Give it a thumbs up, like, subscribe, comment, all of the things. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day and keep getting inky. Bye.